keep business, you can't attract business. And so the fact of the matter is, and that's where our financing program works so well, is that we team everything. We put together teams starting with the local chamber, local officials, whether it be a mayor or a commissioner and that. It's all about listening to an opportunity or an issue, building a team, and then figuring out how we can assist the company in hopefully growing, but sometimes it's trying to stay here and that. Unfortunately with most saves, by the time you hear it, it's pretty much, the clock's ready to strike, and sometimes it's a fatal effort, if you will. But that's our strength of the community, and I can tell you between the chambers and the synchronous kind of programs we're running, which is a professional way of calling on companies, the interaction between the chamber officials, economic development officials, the local level, city officials, when we ask you to become involved primarily through the CIC, the Port Authority. Yeah, Stark County's working. There's great teamwork here. Didn't used to be, but the last 10 years, teamwork's pretty strong here, which I think, if you talk to clients, will reflect that, yeah, I think we get the idea of what we need to do and get it done. It's very important for us to continue to attract new business to Stark County, Northeast Ohio, and we do that, again, primarily by we were providing, as part of dues to Team Neo, originally $100,000 because of our own budget issues. We cut our participation with Team Neo down to $70,000 last year, but we think that's the way you market Stark County, because you have to be part of a region within a state, and then the regions work with the state of Ohio to market the state as a whole. So we're connected at the right places, both by board presence, governance presence as well as we're connected to all the email and all the websites, and so we're part of the link that if something happens, we should be on the firing line. One of the things that you've been reading about that we're extremely excited is the fact that dating back to when the development board really raised the call of building a prototyping center for fuel cells back in probably 1998 or 1999, we had an opportunity with a little company in Alliance called Sofco to go out and, with the help of the Third Frontier in the state of Ohio, the local community, build a state-of-the-art prototyping center for fuel cells for a small little company in Alliance that could have been a great startup. As we were successful in initially raising about $6 million of funding, primarily grants between the state of Ohio, between the National Science Foundation and the Ohio Board of Regents. Today, that's parlayed to $30 million in investment as Rolls-Royce has grown. But the real story was, as we were working to build this prototype center at Stark State, Rolls-Royce was looking at the technology at Sofco, spent a year and a half with due diligence and really assessing the opportunity to acquire Sofco. So the day that the fuel cell center was actually opened, the surprise was, oh, and by the way, Rolls-Royce is going to be headquartered here. Used to be U.S. headquarters, today it's world headquarters for fuel cells for Rolls-Royce Corporation, where they've divested out of the UK and they've divested out of, now I always get this wrong, but I'm going to say Singapore. And they're running a total operation here now. The only thing they're not doing is manufacturing. Of course, from the first time we met to help influence them to consider moving here, our goal is to have them manufacture in Stark County. Ultimately, as they prove their product, which is still off a little bit of ways in time, and that may be as much as 2 years. When you go through the example of being able to look at the Third Frontier and the technology, we set a goal of there ought to be some other technologies that Stark County and the state can lead in. And in the last year, we've been successful in pulling off 2 more what I call research centers, which in our minds are going to position Stark County, when you think about energy research and development and making things with the manufacturing know-how, we're going to be a leader. But the other 2 technologies are, you've read about both these fairly recently. One is, we took a small company called Kohler Coating, who's been around for a while, who was involved in building the kind of machinery used in the making of corrugated paper, but with a lot of patents how to do that in a completely new way worldwide. Kohler was able to buy the only pilot corrugator in the world from Georgia Tech at a bargain, brought it into Stark County, parked it over at 5th Street. We spent 2 years trying to go to first the U.S. Department of Energy to get some money to help build a corrugated center of paper research. Corrugated paper research center of excellence here. Got denied 2 or 3 times, denied Third Frontier. You just keep going. We finally were able to go after a job-ready site in the state of Ohio last spring, I think. And actually, we're able to combine a $750,000 grant from ODOD to the Cheap Job Ready Site program with an investment by the Port Authority of $250,000, with an investment by Kohler of $138,000 to basically go and purchase the building that they're currently in, creating a new LLC for research, partner with Stark State on a training component. Cargill Corporation, which is one of Kohler's big partners, has put in $1.25 million to upgrade the pilot corrugator from something that you wouldn't even know what it looked like to a modern, functioning, world's best corrugator. The pilot's simply a small version of what's in real life. And Cargill and other partners begin to invest, but the point is that there are patents out in a completely new way over time to make major environmental savings in the way paper is made, corrugated paper, which is a hugely growing industry because of our desire to buy things over the internet today. But also, they can make paper completely in a new way that doubles and triples the strength of paper, but in reality makes it lighter. But that's the technology they have to work towards. That's the future where the paper industry's at. But the reality is, people around the world will begin to know that if you're looking at paper research, with potential partnerships with the University of Miami and the University of Akron and other large private companies, you'll think about Stark County when you do that. We'll certainly get the tour to say what's going on here, which will also bring people into the area. The last one is wind energy. And everybody talks about wind energy and, what's the market in that, and I'm not an expert in wind energy, so I can't say. But I know that the Timken company thinks it's pretty strong. And so I know, again, working with Timken, on the idea of creating a research center to look at how you basically develop the kinds of bearings and components that go into not the windmill you see today, which is about 3.5 to 4 megawatts, but a 10 to 12 megawatt windmill, which is, from what I've been told, about a 747 towing on about 400-foot pole. That Timken believes this is a major strategy for growth in the world for their company. And we competed against Clemson University hand in hand, working very closely with state officials and local officials to be able to say, we need that in Ohio. Not many people know, but Timken recently, a year ago, took an endowed chair in automobile manufacturing research and changed it at Clemson to wind energy. And not many people know the U.S. Department of Energy put, and I forget the number, but roughly $48 million of DOE research money into Clemson University to try to make it a hub. And so we had an opportunity to compete for that investment with Timken thinking here versus going down there. And with the work of several senior level state officials, including the Chancellor Board of Regents, we were able to go to 3 different agencies, put a package together of roughly about $3.6 million as a match to their investment of about $8 million. And they made the decision roughly 2 months ago that they're going to build this center here. Hopefully, if the transfer of the property goes from the Highway Patrol to Stark State at Schuylkill Road and Frank Road, right in the corner there, which aligns itself really well with the airport and also the potential of developing a tech-based industrial park out at the airport as a continuation of Port Jackson. So developer Frank Road has working on a branding strategy for Stark County, which is going to combine the words alternative energy or research and manufacturing know-how. We're in process right now, but I'd like to go to my counterparts now throughout the state and say, what if the county has 3 futuristic research centers that all tie to alternative energy? And it's going to be right here. So it's taking the lessons in Rolls-Royce and beginning to say, what are the technologies? And I don't think we're limited. You want to be careful you can be a leader in the technologies, but there are 2 more we're looking at right